Hello. So I'm making another video for a change. Been busy today. So it's 3:19 p.m. and we've got it's very grey sky, but we've got a little bit of sunshine coming over there, like evening sun. I know it's 3:19, which is technically afternoon, but it's yeah, it's settling in now for the evening really. It's been a funny old day, freezing cold this morning, really frosty, but beautiful. Sunny, but frosty, very frosty, and we went down the field and played BALL for quite some time this morning, which was really lovely. Little chat with one of the neighbours, which is nice on the way home. Then I came home and been working literally all day. I've just stopped now at 3:19, so I've been on the go. So another one of my thoughts, this is from Daniel. Get comfy, Bri. Okay then. Oh, the candles behind me, I mentioned them in a video. I wonder if I can reach them. But I can't. Let me have a go. Hang on a minute. You're on my wire, but my wire ain't very long. There we go. £8.95 for 3. And you put a couple of batteries in the bottom. See what we can see. And see this flame. Wonderful. Now, I'll turn them on and off so you can see what I'm doing. Where's the bloody off button? Come on, there it is. Right. So you turn it off. You see that? It's just a piece of plastic. See that? Just a piece of plastic, that's all. And you turn it on, there's a little LED, orangey glow LED, and it touches that, and it makes it move. So it looks like a real candle, sort of. They look better further away, don't they? What do you reckon? Yeah, £8.95 from eBay, and you get 3 of them. You get this one, it's about 3 inches, and then you get another one 4 inches, another one 5 or 6 inches, something like that. But there you go. So we put that down there. Okay. Hello, Daniel. Daniel says, what are my thoughts on atheism, and also what about humanism? He said he's been thinking about humanism recently. My thoughts on atheism: every single child in the world, every single baby that's born is an atheist. Every single baby. So being an atheist is the normal, natural, right way of being for that little baby. Religion is then put upon a child, isn't it, really? If you come from a religious family or neighbourhood or whatever, then you start hearing about religion, you get taught religion, you have to read a book and all that sort of stuff, which builds you up to be a religious being, but actually you're an atheist. So my thoughts on atheists: I've spent the first 20 years of my life, I was an atheist. I would class myself as an atheist. If anybody ever asked me, I remember going for interviews or filling out questionnaires for jobs and things like that, and it said religion, and I always ticked atheist. Always did, you know, because atheist simply means that you don't believe in a God. You know, which is absolutely fine, because nobody believes in a God unless you're taught that and you're told to believe it, you know. And that's the problem I've got with religion, is that people get told so much. You must believe this, have faith in this, read this scripture or that paragraph, and this means this, really. I know it's written like that, but really it means something else, and now you're religious. So then you tick boxes, being what, Catholic or whatever you may tick, you know, but actually you're an atheist. You were born an atheist. Everybody's born an atheist. Being an atheist all of your life, what do I think about that? I think that's absolutely fine. Atheist has got a bad rap to it, you know, the words, the connotations with being an atheist, because people think, well, one thing, right, I was about 19 or 20 and I was in a pub, and I can't remember who they were, but they came round with some flowers and stuff like that into this pub, and they were selling these flowers for a few coins, you know, and they were some sort of religious sect or whatever. And I said, no thanks. And she said, would you like a sticker? And it was a sticker of a cross, you know, what Jesus was murdered on. And I said, I wouldn't want that on me, you know, a murder scene, you know, that's ridiculous. And we got into a little bit of a conversation, and she said, well, why do you hate God? I don't believe in God. I don't believe there's a God. So why would I hate a God? I wouldn't. I mean, that's like hating a unicorn. I don't believe in unicorns. You know, nobody's ever proved to me there's a God. In fact, it's been disproved in my life as far as I'm concerned, you know. But also the world in general, if you look at what religion does, and it separates and segregates people, it causes wars, it's Christianity, I think, is awful against women and things like that. There's so many murders and rapes and awful, awful stories within the Bible that I could never, as a decent human being, I could never be involved in anything like that, never. And if that's the God that people want me to believe in, the murdering God, no thanks, I don't want it. So I don't hate God, because God doesn't exist. As I say, I might as well hate a unicorn, but a unicorn doesn't exist either. In my life, maybe it does in yours, that's fine. But yeah, I think if you're an atheist all of your life, I see nothing wrong with it. Like I say, it's got a bit of a bad rap because people think that you're something that you're not. You're just somebody who doesn't believe in God. You can still live a decent life, you can still be a good person, you can do a good job, you can be a good father, etc., you know. So you don't need religion in your life. Or the other thing is, they say, well, so where do you get your morals from then? Well, you don't need morals to come from scriptures, from a book. You don't need a book to tell you to be a good person, a decent person, and live a life of loving kindness or being polite or respectful or decent. You don't need that. And in fact, a lot of religious people are not kind or decent or anything like that. Far from it. So, like I say, it's got a bad rap, really. Atheism simply means that you, as a person, don't believe in God. Nothing's been shown to you that there's a God, so you choose not to believe in it, and that's the end of it. Now, you've got atheism, you've got agnostics as well, and humanism, and they're all much of a muchness in my view. I'm happy to change my mind, more than happy to change my mind, and I have done over the years about 1,000,001 different things. I'm more than happy because my mind's open. When you're religious, you have to close your mind down. You have to. You have to believe somebody else's words or a book or whatever, a psalm, a prayer, whatever. You have to believe that that's real and just close your mind down. Don't question it. Don't live your life, you know, with an open mind. Close your mind down. And I could never do that. I would never do that. I'm happy, as I say, to change my mind if and when things come to me, whatever that may be. It doesn't have to be religion. It could be politics. It could be anything. You know, I could, this time next year, I could be a vegetarian, and I could be ashamed of myself for eating meat. I could look back at myself and think, oh, that was awful. But currently, I eat meat because that's what I do, you know. But I'm happy to change my mind. It could be about anything, as I say. So, and what about humanism? No, humanism, it's a funny thing, isn't it? First of all, I'll just say this. For the first 20 odd years, I would have classed myself as an atheist, definitely. I think being an atheist is still a big part of me. However, I looked into lots of different religions and I've read up on things and I've had a life. I now class myself as a Buddhist, but I'm my sort of Buddhist, you know, so I am a Buddhist, definitely, and I love so much about Buddhism, absolutely love it. But I'm also a little bit of a Wiccan or a pagan, definitely, because I do love this land, I do love this life. I think everything is beautiful and everything is important. So I think the pagan ways definitely fit with me. I'm still an atheist, but also the more I look into being a humanist, that is what I am. And I think anybody who's an atheist is also a humanist. Anybody and everybody. And you have to be, you can't not be. In my view, this is only my thoughts. The reason why I say that is because being an atheist, you're not against anybody, you're not against anything, you just personally, you choose that you don't believe in a God and that's the end of it, you know. But by being a humanist is somebody with a rational mind. You actually think it out. You believe more the scientific way, and you like to be shown things and what have you. But you like to live a decent life for yourself and others, and that is where I come in, and that is where I think atheism comes in as well. Atheists don't go around hating upon people because there's nothing to hate. They just don't believe, and that's the end of it. There's nothing for them to hate or fight against or argue against. They just don't believe it. That's it. Full stop. But being a humanist, you work out things on a rational level. So I don't believe in God. However, the kindness, the decency, the respectful part of me says to other people, do what is right for you. I don't believe, but do what is right for you. And that's the humanist way of looking at it. And actually, I do believe that that is the atheist way of looking at it as well. So atheism, the agnostics, the humanists, I think they're all interlinked, definitely interlinked, if not the same, or very, very similar. You know, I try and be kind, I try and be polite, I try and be decent and honest and open. That's what I try to do in my life. It's not really a Buddhist way of being, but it is. It's not a humanist way of being, but it is. And it's not an atheist way of being, but it is. You know, the problem I've got with God, with religion, there's so many gods. There's so many, many thousands of gods. And yet, most people, when you say about religion, they think just their one God is correct. Just their one. And they dismiss all the rest. I mean, they're just the same as atheists, really, because they dismiss everybody else and say, oh no, my God's better than your God. He's the only one. He's the true one. Well, he's not, obviously, because there's millions. The problem that I've always had with religion, and I can't shake it off of me, and I will always feel this, is I cannot believe that an adult can read the Bible and accept it as fact. You know, Christianity, I think, for me, I think Christianity is something for children. It's fairy stories, it's silliness, it's fantastical, it's crazy. Put aside all the rapes, the murders, the hatred, the evil things that go on within it, the silly stories, you know. Noah was, 900 years old and he built an ark, yeah. You know, and Adam and Eve had a couple of sons, and somehow those sons must have got pregnant because we all come from them. There was a talking bear, talking snake, all those sort of things. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. And I think an adult believing in any of that, I cannot understand it. I just don't understand that. I think a child believing in it is lovely. You know, fairy stories, that's what it is. So I don't understand it, and that will never leave me. However, I'm a great believer in you should do what you want in life. You should believe in what you want in life. Even if you believe in a talking snake or whatever, or believe that somehow two men can have sex and we get babies and all the rest of it. If you believe that, I suppose you've got to question your beliefs, haven't you? Because maybe it's not right that two men can have loads of kids, but whatever. I just think, okay, well, fine. Are you a decent person? That's it. That is the end of it. Are you a decent person? And that's where the humanism comes into it. The humanist. Are you a decent person? Because being a humanist, you just simply care about yourself, your thoughts, things that are shown to you, particularly in a scientific way, and you care about other people. So you live a life of respect, and I think everybody, if you're a decent person, then you're respectful, regardless of what label you want to put on yourself, whether it be Buddhist or humanist, agnostic, religious, Christianity, whatever words, whatever label you need to put on yourself, or you have put on yourself. And that's the other thing, isn't it? You've put it on yourself, you know. Unless you're born into a Christian family or something, and then your mum and dad's religious and so are you. However, as you grow up, you then should start thinking, okay, what am I? You shouldn't just take, well, you know, they've always voted Conservative, so will I. With no thought. You know, this is where I say earlier about closing the mind down. That's what happens, is often somebody's born into a religious family. They're an atheist, of course they are, when they're a little baby. And then as soon as possible, they start sending them off to Sunday school, or they buy them a children's Bible, or they tell them that God is real, or they point up to the clouds and say there's a man with a beard there. Whatever it may be. And that child then just sort of carries on the belief for his parents, for her parents, carries on that belief, and then ignores all the hatred and the bile and the vile, disgusting stuff from the Bible. And that's what it is. It's a disgusting book. But they dismiss all that, and they just take the good from it. That's what they do. But, you know, that's my own problem with the Bible, with anything that says, close your mind off and just believe this. I've got a real problem with that. And I would also have a problem if it was Buddhism. If Buddhism says you've got to now believe in a God, well, I don't, so I can't be a Buddhist, could I? You know, or Buddhism, if they said you must do this, and you must do that, and this, that, and the other. With Buddhism, you've got the Eightfold Path, you've got a set of precepts, and all the rest of it, you know, and there's lots of different things that you can follow and understand and accept, and a lot of teachings from life and from fact. A lot of teachings about the way you are inside, our makeup as human beings, and how nice we should be, and a loving kindness to everybody as much as possible, including ourselves. That's a nice thing to belong to for me. I couldn't belong to a Christianity who says there's only one God, and this God allows child cancer, or wars, or paedophiles, or rapes, or murder. And in fact, it's even written in his book that a lot of those things are okay, or happen. Couldn't belong to anything like that. I really couldn't. It doesn't sit comfortable with me. So yeah, that's really my thoughts. That's probably a bit bigger and deeper, my thoughts, than what I've just said there, really. But you can only talk about yourself, and you can only do good within yourself, and that should admit, shouldn't it? It should come out of you, really. I think my friends know that I'm a decent person. I'm kind, caring, loving, and that's good enough for me, really. And if that comes over in any videos that I've ever made, then that's great. I mean, obviously this video, there'll be some people that's really going to take offence because I've said that Christianity is bullshit. Essentially, that's what I've said. So a Christian watching it will probably be up in arms. And that's fine, isn't it? It's my own opinion, though, and you should also have your opinion. So you should be able to come back and say, well, I don't like Buddhism, you know, because they like to do kind things, or whatever it may be, you know. I'm not a very good Buddhist, am I? I just said about eating meat. I mean, well, in fact, a lot of Buddhists do eat meat, but, you know, technically we're not supposed to, not really. A lot of things are open to your own interpretation, really. I mean, the Buddha did feed meat to his people that would become his sort of disciples. You've got to eat what's on the table, what you find in front of you. You've got to eat that, really, you know. But yeah, technically I should be a vegan or vegetarian or something, but I'm not, because I'm me and I'm real and I'm living this life now. It's 2019 I live. You know, you can't, if you're religious, for instance, and your religion is Christianity, you can't live like the Bible says you should live. Way back when. It's got to be relevant for 2019. So even the 10 Commandments, I think, should be rewritten to reflect today, you know. And you can't have commandments saying thou shalt not kill and then write in the Bible about all these bloody murders and killings that go on. You can't have that, really. It's just a fallacy, it's a falseness. That's why with Christianity in general, they say about belief and faith. You must believe in it. Just close your mind down, just believe in it, or just have faith that it's true. You know, the other thing they say about atheism, or they used to say to me years ago, is, well, what if you're wrong? Well, what if I am? What if having Bodhi? What if not believing in a God is wrong? What if when I die, I'm presented with a God? What then? Well, I'll say, hello, mate. I never believed in you all my life, and there you are, sat there. You know, but then my answer to that was, well, what if you're wrong? What if you've been praying to the wrong God all this time? What then? Makes no odds to it, really. You know, you've got to live in the now, and even the nowness of death. So if I die and I'm presented with something or nothing or a collection of things, I accept that as it is, as the now. But yeah, I think if you bring yourself into the now, it's the right way to live. And you don't really need a lot of other stuff in it. You don't need religion, do you, to give you a set of morals, as I said. You don't need a Bible as a guideline of how to live your life. If you're decent, if you're kind, if you're respectful of other people and yourself, then you don't need to read it. You don't have somebody else write it down for you. Doesn't mean then that you can't be respectful or loving or polite if the Bible doesn't exist. Of course it doesn't. You know you, and you know if you're a nice person or not, you know. And we're all nice people, and we all try and do good, some good on this planet, really. And I think that is the humanist way. So I think even if you're religious, you can be humanist. If you're an agnostic or atheist, you're a humanist, really, you know. So it's all a muddle and a mix-up and what have you. Being Christian, for instance, you can also meditate. You can also follow lots of the Buddhist type ways of being. There was I read years ago, somebody said that Jesus was a monk, a Buddhist monk, and over the years that's got the story got bigger and bigger and what have you, and the Bible came about, and the Bible was written over probably hundreds of years by maybe thousands of authors. You know, it's not that word of God. It was written by man. And man, I believe man created God. God didn't create man. That's fantastical again. But I believe that man created God. Man created religion to separate, segregate, to thumb people down, to stop them thinking, to frighten the life out of them. You must believe this, or God will smite you. Well, please your bloody self, God. If that's how you are, if you're a moody fella, smite me if you must. But it's all much of a muchness, and the humanist, I think, runs through all of it. You know, you've got extremes of everything. You've got somebody who's religious can be extreme, absolutely extreme, and perhaps follow the Bible to the nth degree, or shout in the street, "You must believe in God" to everybody. I don't know. But then you've got the atheists that are sort of kind of anarchic atheist in a way. You know, I don't believe in God, so nor should you. You know, no, obviously both of those are extreme, and both of those are totally wrong as well, because I think you've got to have your own point of view, even if it's been drummed into you, if you've been programmed to be religious, to read this book, and to accept this book as anything other than just silly nonsense of a fairy story. If you believe that, then that's good enough, isn't it, really? And if you're okay with that and you're comfortable with everything, live your life. Live your life, be kind, be decent. That's all you got to do. Thanks, Daniel. I'll be back soon. Take care and be well. Wrap up warm, it's bloody cold.